So guys, today I want to tell you a story about a young man by the name Alex. It's a very crazy story. It's a very sad story, but there are a lot of lessons to be picked from today's story. So very many years ago, when this guy by the name Alex had just finished his high school, he fell in love with their house help, and very many things followed after that. Sadly, today, because of that decision, Alex cannot have children. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into this story, kindly hit that subscribe button and be among the very first to be notified every time I put up a story. And to be honest, thank you so much. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers, and I'm forever grateful. Now, after Alex finished his high school, you know that point where you don't know whether to enroll for a computer classes, or you feel you need to enroll for that driving course, or just have your first girlfriend. It's a very confusing period after you finished high school. You finish high school, and then you have to wait for quite a number of months before you get admitted into a university. So our good friend Alex was in that particular stage in his life. Now, at that point, Alex's parents decided to get a nanny or a house help or a maid to help with, taking care of the house. Alex had a younger sibling by the name Adrian. Adrian was very young, so definitely they needed to have a house help who would also be taking care of baby Adrian. Remember, it's at this particular point that our good friend Alex has finished high school. Now, they used to, Kina Alex used to live at Umoja, or Mombasa Road, that far end. And Umoja can be so populated. And Alex's mom could not really get a dependable house help from Nairobi. So she decided to go back to their Ushago, back at their village in Makueni. Kina Alex's Ushago was at Makueni. So they decided to go to Makueni to actually get a village girl from their home, bring her to Nairobi, teach her a little bit of caregiving skills and house chores, so that she would help with the running of the domestic aspects of the house, which again is okay. Most families do that. So after 1, 2, they were able to get a young girl by the age of 17 years, and she was brought to Umoja. She was familiarized with the environment. She was taught a few caregiving skills and practices, and that lady did a very good work taking care of Alex's home, Alex's parents, and Alex's younger sibling. So, like I noted earlier, this is the point where Alex has actually finished his schooling, his high school, and then now there's a lot going on. At this point, I want you guys to note one thing about this family. Alex's parents were very strict Adventists, very, very strict and religious people. They did not believe in having a number of friends or going out for parties or bashes, or bringing girls over to the house in the name of, a friend next door. No. They were very strict. You'd rather get into a course somewhere or just stay at home. That's how strict they were. And at this point, Alex was at an age where he was beginning to experience puberty. Adolescence was kicking in, and he was experiencing very raw emotions. And at this point, he felt he should be having his first girlfriend, and those kind of things. He fantasized on the prospects of owning a girl, having a girl of his own. But since his parents could not allow him to to go outside and meet people and exchange experiences. Alex began exploring himself. The only female person in the house, apart from his mom definitely, was the house help. So one day something happened. Alex bumped into some adult content, and he's thinking about their house help changed. He began, complimenting her looks, telling her good morning and wishing her a good day in the morning. At night, he would secretly wish her good night and sweet dreams. And he began getting closer to their 17-year-old house help, beg your pardon. So they became very close, and when the parents used to go to work, they would play games, they would do truth and dares, they would talk a lot. They would talk about politics, they would talk about weather, they would talk about whether Raila Odinga would ever be president. That was a joke. This made them begin to become emotionally connected. Remember, these people are very young. The house help is merely 17 years. She was brought here to work and give caregiving services, get some little money, especially for her grandma, who was very sick back in the village. So one day, Alex told the house help that, you know what, look, I have feelings for you. I feel attracted to you. Can you be my secret, girlfriend? Surprisingly, the young house help lady did not react. She continued with her activities of the house. She neither accepted Alex's proposal, neither did she deny or reject. So I think a week after Alex told the house help that he had developed feelings for her, Alex's parents were needed to travel home for an Adventist camp meeting. Remember, I told you that they were very, very strict Adventists. So this particular camp meeting needed them to travel out for 2 days and leave Alex, the younger sibling Adrian, and of course the 17-year-old house help alone, the three of them, for 2 days. And then now Alex saw that this was the perfect opportunity to explore his raw emotions and experiment on his feelings for this lady and all that, because then the parents are not going to be here. So there's some level of freedom that kicked in to Alex. So I think that the afternoon of the parents leaving, Alex told the house help that, hey, why don't we take a walk, tupige laps kidogo, we check out the neighborhood, just a walk, an innocent walk, And then after the walk, they would go to a friend of Alex's by the name Kevin to pick some movies. That time where, you'd borrow some CDs from a friend's, come play it after, and then once you're done, you'd of course take it back. So again, the house help surprisingly agreed to take a walk with Alex, though he did not know Alex's motive. She did not know Alex's motive. So she was like, oh, we gonna be going, the walk should not take long, because then she needs to come back and prepare Adrian's food, and of course dinner for the three of them for that particular evening. So they started walking, and they're walking, occasionally holding hands, occasionally, the lovey-dovey thing. It seems to me that the 17 years old house help too was kind of not resistant to the advances of Alex, but that's okay. So they were able to take a walk, they were able to explore the Umoja neighborhood. Then finally Alex told her, let's go to Kevin's house, I go pick the CD, then we come back to the house. Cool. So off they went to Kevin's place. 10 minutes walk, they were there. Surprisingly, Kevin was not there. But the door was opened. And Alex was like, Alex told the house help that, hey, let's just wait for Kevin for just like 10 minutes. And then once he comes back, we are able to go back home with the CD. The house help was a little bit hesitant. She was like, no, you know, I have to rush back. And Adrian was left alone because Adrian was asleep. And they didn't know that they are going to find that Kevin is not here. And therefore, it was kind of a tough request to sit and wait for Kevin. But Alex ni nani? Alex ni wouldn't say. So he managed to convince her. And they sat. Now, at this point, I think Alex's blood was boiling, and he felt that this was the opportune moment to, you know, explore this lady, and you know, whatever dirty thing he had in mind, this was the perfect setup, because to him, he was so, you know, he desired this house help of theirs so much. He wanted to explore that particular sexual world that he had never, for the simplest reason that he's been in school the entire time. His parents were so strict, and he really hated his parents for being that strict. Somebody who he mistook the parents' strictness for lack of exposure, because then Alex's parents were those parents who believe that, you know, Instagram is evil and Alex should not have an Instagram account, and that Facebook is, you know, owned by the devil and things like that. He really had a lot of distaste for the parents, but again, that's okay. That's for them to handle. So at this particular point, Alexis came closer and started, you know, touching the lady appropriately, and started touching her upper body, and the lady is a little bit hesitant. He's like, what are you doing? I want to get out of here. And at that point, Alex was so determined to sleep with this lady, he would hear none of the lady's rejection. So at that point, when seeing that the lady was rejecting and his blood is boiling and his desire is top, he rose up, went and locked the door and increased the volume. There was music that was playing at Kevin's house, so he went and increased the volume and locked the door and pocketed the key and came back to where they were seated with the lady. He carried on touching her appropriately, forcefully kissing her and all that, and the lady became adamant, and the more she became adamant and pushed Alex away, the more Alex got energized, and her vulnerability continued turning him on. So at some point, he took the lady forcefully and threw her on Kevin's bed, and, you know, also threw himself on top of her and began tearing her clothes. So remember, he has locked the door. The music, the volume is up, so as much as the house help was screaming for help, nobody could hear her. He continued, you know, touching the boobs, tearing up the top, and when the lady kept on kicking and struggling, Alex removed a knife from under the pillow. Apparently this thing was planned between Alex and Kevin. He removed a knife from under the pillow and showed her to the house help. If you don't give in now, if you don't allow me make love to you now, if you continue making noise and kicking me, I will stab you. And I'm for real. You know, that time his blood is boiling and he's sweating, and all he wants is to be inside this lady. Pathetic state of affairs, I know. And when the lady saw the knife, she was like, oh God, my goose is cooked. The house help told Alex that, okay, it's all right, fine. I'm not going to keep kicking. I'm going to give in. I'm going to just, you know, take off the clothes peacefully, but please don't hurt me. Don't stab me, please. And you know, the beastly Alex was now very hot with desire, and he couldn't control himself at that point. When he heard that the lady was willing to cooperate, he was like, game on. So he took the knife and placed it where he had removed it, and helped the lady remove the clothes. And at that moment, when the desire and the emotions were very tops, he did not see the house help reaching out for the knife. At that moment, when he had removed all the clothes and he was about to get into her, the house help took the knife and just cut a little bit piece of his manhood, and blood started pouring. The place was filled with blood, and Alex was screaming out of pain because he was brutally injured. She had slowly and secretly removed the knife when Alex was, and did that to his manhood, and but there was a lot of pain and blood, and he was screaming and sweating and all that. At that point, the house help took her clothes, put them on hastily when Alex is still confused, and then rushed to the door, opened, and ran away. Alex was there, badly injured in his privates, screaming, and neighbors began to come. Gentlemen, let's learn to control ourselves. Young ladies who are under 18 are a no-go zone. Alex will never have children. If only he had controlled himself. My name is Socrates. This is my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.